I'm Corbett Wall with USDA Livestock and Grain Market News, here with your weekly feeder and stocker cattle market summary for the week ending February the 15th, where your feeder cattle and calf market was sure $5 to $8 lower, many instances fully $10 lower, and spots as much as $15 lower, especially on your lightweight stocker steers. Buyers just collectively decided to adjust the one thing that they have the most influence on their feeder cattle variables, and that's what they pay for them. And it seemed like they all got together before the start of the week, which probably didn't happen, but it started out early Monday just significantly lower. Demand was light from the get-go, and from what the market started out on Monday, it just kind of become weaker throughout the week, and then really did not find any firm ground all the way through the end of the week, although the board did come back some on Friday there. But by Wednesday especially, might have been your lightest point of demand, and Wednesday's a big feeder cattle auction day. But in the Wednesday markets around the country, it just really got tough, and unless those cattle were just what the doctor ordered and a straight load lot of them, you started seeing prices that were way off the market, especially on your smaller groups, on your plainer type cattle and stuff like that. And it's just 2 weeks ago that the demand was outstanding, and everybody seemed to be wanting them, but that's just the way those markets are, especially in your auctions. When the prices are really high and rising, it seems like everybody wants them, and whenever the market's falling out of bed, nobody wants them. And as a bystander, you'd look back and think, you would think at the middle of the week, one of the players would jump in and say, hey, we can get a lot of cattle bought $6, $8, $10 cheaper than what we've been buying them the last couple of weeks, but nobody does. They still stay out of the market. But just really a tough market this week. The light numbers of feeder cattle and light calves and all classes of feeders just can no longer hold these price levels, as the amount of money that the cattle feeders are losing on feeding these cattle is just caught up with them. These feed costs are through the roof, and from what they're being given for these feeder cattle, it can't work anymore. The board has just gone down so hard, it gives you not nearly enough protection on your risk, and you just got to follow up with lower cash prices. We don't have enough speculator investment in the board, even though our numbers and our fundamentals look really good. There's just not enough support there on the board to offset the risk that these guys are taking by buying these kind of cattle. But we still think that eventually these tight numbers are going to outweigh the lack of demand and the hard time that these guys are selling fat cattle, and the hard time that the packers are selling their boxed beef. But just something's got to happen. Something's got to give. We need a little more export demand. Finally, all those storms that kept going up through the northeast part of the United States, where our big population is, they're about to get some relief there, so maybe those people can get outside and get to some restaurants and eat some beef, or maybe get to the store and buy some, as consumption and movement has been really down in that area. We need some rain in a lot of spots. We're starting to get a few spots of rain and some snows around in places that really need it, but we really need some rain in the Flint Hills and in the Osage and in the big grazing areas. We need some more rain in the Corn Belt before these guys get ready to plant their corn. We need some more support on the board on the CME cattle futures, both live and feeder, and the only thing that's going to do that is for these fund investors to see it as a more favorable investment, and the fundamentals look good, but still not enough investment in the cattle as a commodity there. But maybe if we get these prices down a little bit, some of these guys will keep back more heifers, because we know we're going to have to start buying some heifers and breeding some heifers. This week on Thursday at the Ogallala Livestock Auction in Nebraska, there had 5 loads of fancy heifers, replacement type quality heifers weighing 600 to 750 pounds, bring from 148 to 150 and a quarter. That's about $10 above the feeder heifer market and almost what the feeder steer market is, and out there they really like their steers. Fats this week sold $2 lower at 123, $4 lower on a dress basis at 196. Check out your regional weighted averages here. You can see the full blend of the market, and this is on a collective weighted average. In the north central states, 800 to 900 pound steer cost you $134.81 compared to $139.69 just last week and $148.79 a year ago. We were starting to set all-time record highs in feeder cattle about a year ago this week and stretching for the next several weeks. Down the south central states, a 700 to 800 pound steer cost you $138.68 compared to $145.14 last week and $155.47 a year ago. Down in the southeast, a 500 to 600 pound steer cost you $154.45 this week compared to $160.05 just last week and $168.69 a year ago. That wraps up your feeder summary for this week. Check out our website for more market information at marketnews.usda.gov. And from the Regional Market News Office in St. Joe, Missouri, we'll talk to you next week.